Well, hello. Here we are at Lustleigh Cricket Club. I've arrived a little early today, and very lucky I am indeed that we can hear the sounds of the church bells from St John the Baptist Church. If we look over to the top there, you'll see the tower there. That church has been there for around about 800 years, I understand, from my researches, and doesn't outdate the village here. The village here was recorded in the Domesday Book under the name of Sutre Ward, which is an Anglo-Saxon word which means south of the wood, and there are indeed woods to the south of us here, which in fact they're all around us. You can see them as we pan around past the sight screen and so on here. This scene, as you can see, makes for a rather lovely rural idyll that you might understand from village cricket grounds all across the world. Anyway, Chagford playing Lustleigh today. I've arrived, as I've said, a bit early. I thought I'd do a little walk round now because there's some activity going on the pitch. The locals are just preparing it now. We'll be able to see that in a minute. But I thought I'd talk a little bit about Lustleigh Cricket Club, which has had an on-off relationship with the Devon League over the last few years, but I think they're pretty serious about it now, and they've been in the Devon League now for the last 3 years, making their way up through the divisions, and they're joining us in the E Division this year. And competitive lot they are. They like to win. They've got some rather good players amongst them, and I think there's every chance we have our work cut out for us, but we'll work hard, I've no doubt. We've got a strong side today, and we'll see what's happened. So, or what happens later on, shall we say. So, Lustleigh Cricket Club, there seems to be some evidence of Lustleigh Cricket Club playing cricket on this site before 1888, although 1888 sees the first mention of the cricket club in a local parish magazine, which I suppose at that sort of time was about the time parish magazines started to appear all around the place. But since then, they've played friendly cricket, early English cricket. You may know a variant of the game called Early English. I'll explain that another day if I'm reminded to do so. Hopefully I will be. So they play at the moment evening league cricket. They play friendly cricket on a Sunday from this ground, and also Devon League obviously on a Saturday, hence our presence here. As you can see, it's a nicely appointed little area. Got a clubhouse there. I was just trying to zoom on the thing. I can't do it still. Never mind. There's the square there, surrounded and decked about all around by trees. And there's one of our players just arriving there in his lorry. And so we'll go and perhaps talk to him in a minute if he comes along. He may do, we never know. There's a second set of people in the Land Rover underneath the tree there. So there we are. So there we go. The Chagford and Lustleigh do have connections that run into history. There is the fifth bell, one of which we could probably hear now if we stopped and listened for a second. I hope that you can perceive it in the distance. Was cast and hung by William Agate, who was a bell hanger from Chagford. So there's a connection that goes back more than 100 years between the two villages, and a nice little piece of additional history there for you. So let's talk about Chagford's efforts in the league so far. We played Plymouth Civil Service and Rowborough last week in a game that was affected slightly by rain, but was completed nevertheless. It was a low-scoring affair. We made something over 100 runs, but not much more than that. But we managed to win the game by about 15 or 20 runs in a fairly tense affair. So we were quite delighted with that. And that makes, I think, for 4 wins on the bounce. Our standard captain, our normal captain, is back this week, and he will be, there go the bells there. I do hope that you were able to hear them. And they're just, I can't remember what that single tone is called. It has a name. But as I say, so Captain Jake is back this week as well. And so we're back more or less to full strength. Let's have a quick look at the clubhouse here that you can see up close. There's a couple of people there who won't want to be filmed at all, I've no doubt. They're saying, for God's sake, leave me alone. But you can see the scorebook, or the score box and the scoreboard there, which is an electronic affair. And then there's the equipment shed away behind them. And if we pan around a little further, you'll then see the nets here, which is a useful affair, very uncommon in country cricket clubs, of course, but lovely to see nevertheless. There's a small brook with a little wooden bridge there that you can see. Wrong way. And I would imagine in the winter the rain comes and sheets off that hill there and into that brook, and it becomes quite full. There's an amount of water in it now, so it'll be a home for frogs and toads and various other drunken cricket players maybe who fall in it perhaps, but we never know. So there we go. Our challenge today will be to play on what is quite a small ground. If I walk into the pitch here slightly, you'll see the markings on the deck, which are, I think, 30 yards around the wicket, and these are the fielding markers, which you're not allowed to have so many players outside of. And what you can see here is that the fielding markers are really quite close to the boundary. So if we point across here, you can see the boundary rope there. And if I walk from here a number of steps, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so about 8 yards to the boundary from the boundary markers here. So this is quite a small pitch, and so that of course brings its own challenges, but we're aware of them. We play in grounds like this across the county, so we'll make sure we are equal to that challenge, and hopefully we'll emerge winners. But it's going to be a tough game, as I've said. So there we are. I'm going to call a halt to proceedings now, having given you just a little taste of the history of Lustleigh, and a little update on how we're doing at Chagford, because we'll have to start our pre-match preparations fairly shortly. That'll be warm-ups and practices for the team players and so on. So wicket keepers will have to get their gloves on, and bowlers will have to start bowling the balls, but we'll be doing catching and fielding drills and so on and so forth. And that helps to get us warmed up. It is a very hot day today. As you can see, the sun is shining. There is some cloud, it's broken cloud, but there isn't very much wind, and I think it's quite likely to be very warm out in the field. I would suspect drinks breaks probably every 10 overs here. We don't want people getting spinny and dehydrated on the pitch. That wouldn't do at all. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's quite important that we get that bit right. But the final preparations going on for the pitch here. They're just having a quick roll of the pitch. That's the roller, not the people. I wouldn't expect the people to be rolling on the pitch. That wouldn't do at all, would it? And once that's done, then I must move out of the way of the cars that are coming in. Okay, there's various people revving their engines in a most cavalier manner there. We'll not video them. We'll just pan right round here. That's probably the best thing to do. There you go. That was Rahul there, and Stuart and his wife have just arrived. Sandy is Stuart's wife, and she does the scoring, and a super job she does as well. They're absolute works of art, those things. Very easy to see and understand. She uses different colours for each batsman, and she puts the runs in different colours in the bowler's analysis. So there we are. So what I'm going to do now is I'll call a halt to proceedings now for this week, but I'll just leave you with a few minutes of the Church of St John the Baptist ringing its peal. There are 6 bells there that are being rung, I think is the correct word. I think, in closing, I will say that we can be reasonably certain that John the Baptist did not actually visit Lustleigh at any point during his world tour, but the church is named for St John the Baptist. And I'll just let you listen to that for a few seconds, and I'll sign off, and I'll do another one next week from Chagford if I'm allowed. Thanks very much.